Hello, Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive. So excited to see you today for our Demystify the Divine weekly tools and weekly readings and tools to connect. Couple of dishes and laundry things. We are on YouTube. If you like what you see here, feel free to like, subscribe, and click that bell on the YouTube channel so that you can get notified of this show and all of the other things that we do on YouTube. I've got a an energy cup, G2 with feather temperature. That's what we call it. Temperature check with the feather on Wednesday nights. If you want to get kind of a feeling of the energy and keep an eye on the temperature of what's going on energetically, that's a great place to come and visit us. And also, we're always posting videos on archangel information, transformation information, tarot and oracle cards, and we're just loving it. So Keoni and I are excited to be here today, hoping that you are enjoying it. If you are in the South, we're actually having kind of a quieter day. Kind of when we're talking about the temperature, it's actually a little bit lower. It's more peaceful. I'm not sweating my balls off, as they say. And I'm able to do my client sessions outside, which I'm absolutely loving. And of course, we are in the studio for this because, as soon as I were to go on live, the leaf blowers will start up and the lawn will start, the lawnmowers will come in and 57,000 kids will be coming in, jumping on the trampoline that is right next door to me. It's quite an adventure. So let's dive on in. For those of you who are new here and checking things out, it's like the comedy hour. In many ways, Keoni and I have a lot of fun. If you would like to come on live and do our grab your decks portion, which is kind of a Q&A, and I help you to take the general message that I'm about to read and read in and tune into and make it individualized for you, we would love to have you on. Keoni puts in the chat that you can click on a link to send us an email directly, and he will get you hooked up. So we'd love to see you there. It's keoniproductions@gmail.com. If you want to send something out, we'd love to have you live. And of course, feel free to, put some stuff in the chat and we'll have some fun and we'll see what we can do. So let's get started. I am going to go into my happy place right now and tune in for our going to channel a word of the week, or sometimes it's a phrase of the week. Never really know what's going to be coming through with our guides. So let's see what we got coming down the pike this week.
I thought your happy place involves tequila.
Actually, my place in Arizona, it involves a really expensive wine. But tequila used to be my alcohol of choice until my body decided it didn't like hard liquor. So there you go. Fun fact about Stacy. Errors in judgment. This week we want to be paying attention. We want to be paying attention because errors in judgment can occur. What is an error in judgment? First of all, when we are judging something, it's not always good. It's good to evaluate something and to judge it based on, is this going to work for me or isn't it? But it's never a good thing to judge something or to judge someone. And I feel like the message coming through is errors in judgment. We don't want to be in a place of judgment. So let's not make those errors. Let's focus instead this week on really being present. And I feel like this is very much connected to interactions with others, people, humans. It's not anything else. It's the interactions with humans. And I'm hearing that for some of us, it is, well, for most of us, I feel it's going to be individuals that are outside of our inner circle. So these are, strangers, interactions that we have with our banker or our grocer or the delivery guy that's, delivering whatever we, Amazon or whatever it is that we decide to have delivered to our doors. I feel like it's really important this week that we all stop and take stock. This is a week where everyone wants to make sure that they give themselves a minimum of an hour before they respond to a question or respond to an opportunity. You want to give it some thought before you jump on in, because errors in judgment occur when we are not present, when we are not grounded, when we are not focused on our inner guidance and focused on how a situation feels to speak before you feel, right? That, you don't speak before you think. Well, this is don't speak before you feel into whatever it is you're about to commit yourself to. Errors in judgment occur when we rush into something, when we are feeling pressured about something. Errors in judgment occur when we are scattered, when we are not focused on I don't want to say the right things, but focused on the thing that is right in front of you. What is your priority? That needs to be your focus. So errors in judgment, to avoid errors in judgment, don't judge. Take the time to step outside of yourself a little bit. You into a conversation or dive into a commitment to another person. Also, errors in judgment. I feel like when we're talking about the judging of other people, it's very easy right now from a global perspective to look around at the world and what is sort of transpiring and to judge. So again, like it has been for the last 2 years, there's so much divisiveness, and it's so obvious that we have a hard time coming into the gray areas, right? We have a hard time living in the gray areas and accepting that just because you have a different opinion from me doesn't mean that I have to hate you. I think there was a post that went around on Facebook last week about that too, and it really makes a lot of sense. We have forgotten the art of discussion and disagreement. We've forgotten the art of debate. Healthy debate, actually, is a better way to put it. So when we're talking about errors in judgment, it's coming to understanding that judgment is not the way we want to go. We don't want to judge others because we don't want ourselves to be judged. We want to, from a global perspective, it's easy to sit and judge. And I mean, I'm speaking, I'm preaching to the choir. I think when I'm saying these words, what's coming through, it's also valid for me as well, because I have beliefs and opinions just like anybody else about what is going on. And it's easy for me to say, oh my God, I can't understand how that person could actually think that way, or how could a person choose that path or choose that direction? It makes no sense to me. But it doesn't mean that I have to hate that person. It doesn't mean that I have to judge them for having a belief or an opinion that's different than my own. And so I feel like that's what they're referring to here is, don't sit in judgment, sit more in review. When we are reviewing something that is coming up for us, pay attention to how you feel about it and notice what is coming up for you, and maybe take a little deeper dive to say, oh, is that a trigger? Is that a belief? Is it a limiting belief, or is it a belief that is valid for where you're at right now? So I want to say, let's replace it with discernment. Instead of judgment, it's discernment. It's discernment, because judgment can cause errors in our overall intention. Judgment can cause errors in getting to where it is that we really want to go, our goals or our desired outcomes. So be aware of that this week. That's a really interesting phrase that is coming through. Errors in judgment. We want to avoid errors in judgment. And we can do that by being present and focused, by listening to our intuition, by feeling into something first before we react or respond. And of course, I'm always going to tell you, response is better than reaction. And response comes from having the time to sit and think about it for a minute. Reaction comes in the moment. I'm triggered. Whew, I'm putting something out there. And for those of you who are like me, who are quick processors, this is hard. It's hard to, make a commitment to step back and say, I'm not going to get involved right now. I'm not going to give you an answer right now, even though I know my answer is yes, or I know my answer is no. I'm going to take that hour to sit with it, and I'll get back with you. Because because there are fast processors, like you and I, who boom, 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 boom. And then there are those of you who take your time and you're slow, and you're saying, yeah, well, I do that all the time, Stace. Like, why are you bringing that up? That I do that all the time. What I would say to you there is avoid analysis paralysis. Avoid getting caught up in the monkey mind and overthinking your response, because overthinking your response is just as detrimental as responding quickly, or I should say as reacting to something quickly without thought. So, there's two, what do they say? There's two sides to every coin, right? So it's errors in judgment, evaluating before you commit to anyone or anything. And that means before you commit to words, before you commit to a conversation with someone. So really be in that space. That's very interesting. Okay, so Keoni, you're on. You are muted.
You know what? See, this is why I don't like Mondays. I'm over here singing to the best of my ability, and no one heard any of that.
No, we didn't hear a thing. Not one thing.
It's time to pull a feather.
Woo-hoo! Actually, we're pulling a card. So you're close.
Train wreck. Absolute train wreck. Let's pull a card.
You know what? Years ago, when I was so afraid of my own shadow, and not having everything planned down to the T was so unbelievably stressful, and it would create so much anxiety. Mm-hmm. And the way that I choose to live now, I love these train wrecks because it's life. Life is so freaking serious. We have to be able to laugh. We have to be able to be in the flow. Not everything has to be planned down to the tittle, as my uncle used to say. So I bring on the train wreck. Bring it on.
I always say we only get to do this once, unless you're Hindu. You get to do it a couple times.
And then you can do it a couple times. All right, so we are pulling cards today from Kathy McClellan's The Star Tarot. Ooh, 3 of Swords. Oh my God, this is the perfect card for us to pull, given our phrase of the week, which is errors in judgment. So swords in tarot represents air, mental energy, the mind, thoughts. It represents legal matters, justice. It represents communication. And as you can see, this card, there's 3 swords, kind of dividing and cracking open this heart. And what that says to me is our words matter. Our words can cut, or our words can be a healer, right? They can heal the wound. So what do you want your words to be this week? And when we're talking about that error in judgment, you don't want to be, there are few people out there. There, of course, are people out there that their goal is to cause trouble. Their goal is to instigate. Their goal is to hurt people. But I'm going to go as far as to say to you, there aren't as many of that type of person, that's wired in that way, than there are people really they're just trying to get through their day. They're trying to love. They're trying to figure it all out. Their intentions are good. Their delivery might not be so great, but their intentions are good. And so it's about connecting to, I want to say, and this is going to build on the phrase of the week, errors in judgment. I'm going to choose not to judge this person. I'm going to choose to take this time that I am not reacting right away, that I'm choosing my response carefully, to also not only feel into what I'm feeling around this for me, but I'm also going to feel into what that other person is feeling. And if you're not an empath and it's not normal for you to be able to automatically, tap into, I don't know what you're feeling, or I do know what you're feeling, you want to do the whole, I'm going to put myself in their shoes for a minute. What perspective might they be coming from? And sometimes it is a bit of a guessing game, and that's okay. If you're not empathic and it's not natural for you to tap into someone's energy, it's okay to play a little bit of the guessing game, as long as you're not judging what you're receiving and you're also not committing to that perception. It's a tool that's going to help you to think outside the box so that you can gain a little more common ground when you are communicating with others. We don't want broken hearts. Anybody who's watching this show, you don't want to break someone's heart. You don't want to stab someone in the heart. We have our moments where I always joke that I'd like to gouge people's eyeballs out every once in a while, but I don't really mean it. I mean, if I actually were to go and do that, my whole body would just melt into a puddle. Like, it's just not who I am, right? So we can recognize when, frustration, but we can also recognize that this person that I'm interacting with also has a heart. They have a pair of lungs. They have a heart. They have a family. They have people who love them. They have people who drive them crazy. They have situations going on in their lives the same as I have in mine. The situations might be slightly different, but the process of life is the same, right? If you prick us, do we not bleed, right? It's the whole Shakespearean concept. So this week, when we're talking about Three of Swords, it's being very aware of how we are choosing to interact and communicate, being very aware that our words matter, how we deliver those words matters, and that it's important to go into the heart space and to communicate from that heart space. Now, if you are a logical, rational person that you're, very much in your mind, or an air sign who doesn't lead with their heart, you lead with your head. We're all head, heart, and soul. So this is a matter of saying, okay, I'm going to not allow the head to lead. I'm going to actually let the heart speak first, and then maybe the head can take what the heart is saying, and it might not take it all, but it's going to take some of it into consideration and maybe reframe how it's going to deliver its information, right? And if you're a soul-based person, tapping into the heart space is going to be a little bit easier, but I want to say it's recognizing how much fire you give to a situation or a circumstance, right? How worked up do you really need to get? You're getting worked up because you have heart about it. You have feeling about it. Evaluating, are those feelings, and is that level of intensity or energy that I'm devoting to those feelings, is that helpful? Or do I need to recognize it, feel it all, and then pare back my delivery based on what it is that I'm really trying to achieve through this conversation? Threes, creativity, creation. We are in transformation like we have never been before on a global perspective, as well as individually. Each of us has been affected, each of us in our own ways. You may have only noticed, that you've been affected by one area of your life, and you might be the person that everything has been affected. I'm right there with you, because that's how it's been for me too. Whatever it is, whatever area of transformation you are going through, understand that part of the transformation process is the death of something so that you can birth something new or rebirth yourself anew. What is that process? Creation. Creation. It takes effort. It takes energy to create. It takes the time to evaluate, is this what I really want to say? Is what I really want to say going to get me where I need to be, or do I need to evaluate? Perhaps deliver the message in a different way. That will be invited to do this week. All right, we're pulling an oracle deck and an oracle card, and we're pulling from the Gateway of Light activation from Kyle Gray. This is such a great deck. I mean, I love all of his decks, but this one it speaks to me. It's definitely, you can tell that he has sort of elevated his path, and it's exciting for me because I'm kind of on a similar trajectory. Akashic Records, clearing old stories, releasing past lives, and freedom. So as we are talking about this, errors in judgment, focusing on what it is that we really are trying to communicate, understanding that there's an approach to everything, understanding that the creation process does require us to let go of the past. It requires us to maybe evaluate and review lightly what we have done in the past. But the whole purpose of that evaluation is not to dive deep in and to try and recreate the past. It's not there for us to get lost in the past, to feel sorry for ourselves about certain choices in the past, or to really struggle with reliving certain horrible situations that have happened in our past. That's not what it's about. Akashic Records is coming up to say, bye-bye, see you later. None of this matters anymore, because when we are in creation, it is about what are we creating new? What is going to help us now in this moment to be able to get where it is that we're going? I'm hearing that for each of us this week, it's also about taking time. Not only are you taking time to sort of pause and breathe before you connect and interact with another person, it's also about evaluating your vision. And it's looking at it from a global perspective. What is the vision that I see for humanity? What is my greatest hope for humanity? And what could that possibly look like? And it's also about, okay, in evaluating that, I also understand that when we change the whole, we're also changing the individual. When I change the individual, I'm also affecting the whole. So it's about being very conscious about understanding that it's not about the past. This isn't even saying, I want to dive into the past specifically or directly. It's almost like as soon as I think about the past, as soon as I connect to that Akashic record, I kind of want to say, oh no, that's not the direction I want to go. I actually want to create something fresh and new that isn't connected to anything I've done in the past. What would this world look like if we connected with our heart space, our heart center, and we created something that literally just came through that maybe has never been tried and true before? We have no idea how it's going to turn out, but it's going to be very different from anything that we've done before. Wow. Now we're talking possibilities. Now we're talking potentials. So this is an invitation to release connection to the past and to literally say, I don't need to even explore it. I need to recognize, this is coming up to say, I need to recognize when I am falling back into the past patterns, or monkey mind is taking me to a situation where I'm ruminating over something that happened 5 minutes ago. That's the past too. 5 minutes ago is the past. 2 minutes ago is the past. So it's really about giving yourself permission to create in the moment, creating fresh thought in the moment, thought that matters, thought that allows us to feel into our heart space, to release the old and step into the new. Oops, sorry. There we go. Now you can see it.
If you're wondering why she keeps flashing that card so close to the camera, she knows Keoni is horrible at spelling.
Well, you got it. You got it. Records. It looks great. And actually with this, so there is like one way to spell it, but I've seen it spelled a number of different ways. So I'm to the point now, I used to get all worked up about spelling, and now I'm like, there are so many beautiful ADD people and dyslexia and all the rest of it. And what it is it's a symbol of, the crystal and indigo souls. And right. So I recognize, all right, we don't need to spell because we don't need language. We can like telepathize with people. That's a Stacyism, by the way. I don't know if that's even a word.
No, it's not.
It's not a word, but it's a word today. It's a word today on Demystify. So yeah, I let go of all that spelling nonsense long time ago.
That's what we're about to do. We're about to pull a feather.
We are. And you know what? As I pulled the lid off, the feather came out.
Oh, wow. Is it fairy magic?
Oh. Guess what, Keoni? Can you read it from here? I don't know if you can see it.
It is Eagle Energy?
Eagle Energy.
Eagle Energy. I haven't seen that one. That's a new one for me.
It's a new one, and it's on a pink feather. So pink is the heart. Pink is unconditional love, self-care, self-compassion, and self-forgiveness. And let's talk about the eagle for a second. So I love that we are actually having an animal totem, an animal spirit guide that's coming through. The eagle is about the vision. And I've talked about this before. I talk about it a lot on all my social media, so I don't know if it was here on this show or somewhere else, but I do talk about the eagle energy a lot. When you think about the eagle is so powerful. It is a bird of prey, and its superpower is that it can be super, super, super high up in the atmosphere, and it can look down from so far away and see this tiny little speck, right? It's like a mouse that it sees. It's not even like a large animal, it's a mouse. And from like 200 meters away or some crazy amount, it can hone in on that tiny little speck, and everything else falls away. And it just focuses on that, and it makes a beeline for that, and it gets its prey. So what is the lesson that we can learn from this? Tap into the energy of the eagle. And even if that's, maybe focus isn't your strong suit, maybe you are, connected to that beautiful ADD and ADHD energy, which, by the way, just simply means that you're conceptual in your thinking. You're not linear, which is kind of the new energy. That's the way it is. What you want to do is you want to say, okay, I know I have a tendency to hyper focus. So let me just make sure that I'm hyper focused on the right thing for me in this moment right now. My hyper focus is, where am I at in my moment right now? Setting the priority for what it is that your target is. What is your target goal? What is your target outcome? Use or tap into that eagle characteristic and give yourself permission to do it. And the catch is, you're going to do it from a place of love. You're going to do it from that heart space, and you're doing it for yourself. And this is what I find interesting, is I've talked a lot in the cards about sort of moving in and doing things for others, or being aware of being aware of the global. That's all true. And that's important. We need to be aware of other. This message is coming through to say, and this week, while you are being aware of other, and you're taking that time to, evaluate and to not judge and to respond versus react, you also want to make sure that you are setting your focus on what matters to your heart, setting your focus to your goal. Because if you're reaching your goal, ultimately, what did I say before? It has ripple effect in the collective. So by you putting yourself first and doing something heart-based and heart-centered for you, or including you in what you also give to others, is actually helping the collective. It's helping that global perspective. It's helping the global shifts that we are involved in at this time. So don't be afraid to include yourself in the process. Awareness of other also includes awareness of self. It is how we come together. It's the yin and the yang. It's the symbiotic relationship. You can't really have one without the other. Although sometimes I wish, I'm not going to lie, when I'm at the pool, that is like I'm always on, right? I'm always on. I'm doing this. I'm with clients. I'm on. When I go to the pool or I go to my happy place, I want to put my headphones in. I want to mind my business, and I don't want there to be screaming children, and I don't want there to be humans that are getting in the way and not aware of me as other. And you know what? I live in a world with other people. So it happens. It's kind of par for the course. So I have to learn this too, recognizing, okay, what's really important? What's the priority here? Focus on the priority and let the rest go. And that's really connecting to the heart space. You're getting a lot of TMI about Stacy today.
I know. It's TMI Stacy Day.
It is. Oh my goodness. All right, Keoni, what have we got next?
We've got grab your decks, because we're going to have everyone who has their decks go ahead and grab it. If you want to come on live, you're going to click that link and come on live. We've got the awesome Ragu, because it's his week this week.
I love it.
Already in the waiting room. We have some readings from the chat, and I'll call those people out when you go to your thought process to get.
Yes. Go to my happy place. That's awesome.
Oh, you're happy.
Yes. So those of you, I just want to put out there, not everybody is comfortable being on camera. Mm-hmm. And I understand that, and I respect it 100%. If you would like to have the experience, but you don't want people to see you, because maybe in your jammies, maybe it's not a great hair day, I can appreciate that. I get that way myself. You can go on and just don't put your camera on, and we can talk.
We're gonna do that. We're gonna do the hair thing.
We're gonna do the hair thing. But you never have to worry. You never have a bad hair day. You always look great. That's the advantage of that.
Can't stand you.
That is beautiful. Keoni said something to me earlier in the week. We were kind of kibitzing back and forth about some technical or thing or whatever, and he's like, "I hate your positivity."
It's annoying.
Oh my God! I don't mean to be annoying. Believe it or not, if you know me, I mean, what you see is what you get. This is kind of how I am. But I
for a moment,
more realistic. When there are times when shit happens, and I'm like, fuck you, universe. I hate that. And then I'm like, and okay, I got it out of my system. And now I'm real, I'm realistic about things and I can be happy, but I'm never Pollyanna. So
you've got to, everyone always remember this. There is no such thing as a bad emotion. All emotions are necessary. Yep. The only thing that's bad is what you do with that emotion can be bad.
Well, I wouldn't even say bad. I would say it's really just recognizing, are you tapping into the shadow side of that emotion and wanting to express the shadow side, or are you wanting to tap into the light side? And understanding that both are going to bring you a particular experience. And it's important that you sort of have that experience and learn from it, because sometimes when we tap into the shadow, it doesn't work out to our advantage. And sometimes it does.
Right. Someone asked me to explain that. I said, okay, if I'm angry and I decide to watch TV or listen to music and calm myself, that's a good reaction to my anger. If I decide to take a baseball bat and knock out windows, that's not a good reaction to my
anger. And yet it's a valid reaction, right? So what I would say to you with that, and I literally have this, I have a styrofoam bat that I use to beat the crap out of my pillows, because there are times when I mean, it's few and far between. I'm very kind of not, there's not a violent bone in my body really, but there's every once in a while, it's like, I got to release this shit. Yeah. I got to release it, and I got to do it in a safe way. How do I do it without breaking things and feeling regret afterwards because I've, ripped something up or knocked something or broken something to pieces that I actually really love. So a bit self-serving for me, but there you go.
I totally got you. All right, everybody, grab your deck. Stacey's going to go to her happy place. I would like to say thank you for our every Monday watchers, Ragu, and my family members, Try Red, Chris D, Christy, and I have a new sister who's on here, Nancy Stevens, that says hi from Rocky for Pets International. Thank you for joining us. Irene, Boo March, sorry if I mispronounced your last name. Thank you for joining us today. Ashley Dickerson, first time here. She says she's new. We're going to make sure we get you a reading. If you're still on here, Ashley, go ahead and put in the comments that you're still here so I know to get your reading in. Everyone that has given us readings in the chat, thank you very much. We will make sure we get to those after we get to the live ones. Always remember, if you want to come on live, you can turn your camera off. If you don't want to be seen on camera, it's just a good experience to hear that voice and be able to get your readings. Thank you, all the new people that I cannot see. If you have not commented in the chat, thank you for watching, and we are glad to have you here on the Black Feather Intuitive Demystify the Divine Mondays every week at noon.
Much to your chagrin.
Ooh, I was wondering when you were going to snap out of it. I was like, I'm running out of oxygen.
No, I was like in, and then I was out, and then I was in, and then I was out, and I'm like, I got to get these questions. Like, just focus. Give me that eagle. Give me the eagle.
I was about to do the Barbara Streisand. Snap out of it.
Actually, that's not Barbara Streisand. It's Cher.
Cher.
It's Cher, but it's a great line. I love Cher. She's awesome. All right. So our questions for everyone to pull a card today. What energy can we use to support our lack of judgment? So we talked about errors in judgment. How can we avoid judging one another this week? So that's going to be our first question. I'm going to write that. How can we avoid judging one another? Because what I wrote was weird. And then the second card pull is, what are we needing to release from the past? So this will be a great one, because we are talking about that Akashic Records card came up, and it's understanding what we need to release. It's not getting caught up in it. It's understanding, oh, this is coming up. Okay, great. Anytime that shows up this week, that's what I know I need to release. And I can go into that space. All right. So I'm sure we probably have quite a few people in there. So I'm not going to pull a card for myself right now. I'm just going to allow us to have some readings, and we'll dive in that way.
All right. Ragu disconnected. He'll be coming back in. But our first one from there is Try Red. He doesn't have his with him today, but he said, could you pull please 2 tarots for him?
Absolutely. Try Red. We can pull 2. So first question, how can you avoid judgment of one another this week? And so your first card, ooh, Queen of Cups. I love this. Okay. So Queen energy, structure, organization, delegation. Queen of Cups is the queen of emotions. She's on it. She's got it. She's got it covered. She's confident. She doesn't allow her emotions to take over. She evaluates what it is that she's feeling and why she's feeling it. And she puts it in, I don't want to say she compartmentalizes it. It's more that she understands that it has a place, it has a purpose. And I feel like for you, how are you going to avoid judging one another? It's understanding and connecting with another person's heart. Kind of like what we said with the 3 of Swords. You want to connect with that person's heart and say, you know what, if I was in their shoes, I might feel the same way. Or it's possible that I could have a similar reaction. Or maybe I've never had that reaction before, but maybe I don't know what is actually going on in their life that might be causing that. Maybe there's a combination of things that is creating this energy within them. And I, being the queen of my emotions or the queen of emotions, I can put some structure around that. I can also delegate it, understanding that you're sending me this information or you're sending me this energy, and I can process it without having to take it on. I can process it without having to wear it, without having to take it personally. I can be aware of it. I can acknowledge it. I can even help you with it, but in the end, I'm going to give it back to you. But I'm going to give it back to you a little bit changed, because the Queen of Cups is heart. It's all heart. And look she's got this huge mandala. Actually, the mandala is in her womb space. I'm wrong. The heart is actually the chalice, her heart space. And it is kind of in the shape of a heart-ish looking thing. I don't think it's totally supposed to be a heart. Oh yeah, no, it is. And the chalice is inside the heart, and it's pink, which matches our pink feather today. So I feel like that makes a lot of sense for you. Is how can you avoid judging another? It's by tuning into your heart and saying, where have I done that myself? Where have I had that experience with myself in the past? So that's really important. Your second card, what are we needing to release from the past? Ooh, this one just kind of flew out. So I think this one's going to really kind of help you. The World. So what you want to release is this idea of the way things are supposed to turn out. It's judging the outcome, or it's connecting to the outcome, getting overly, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a word and I can't think of it right now, but releasing the need to know the outcome of a situation. Because sometimes if we have expectation, that's the word I was looking for. Sometimes when we have expectation about an outcome, that can actually inhibit us receiving an outcome that is for our highest and best. Because if we have this, this idea of it can only come through in one way, then you're limiting the universe by being able to, maybe the universe can bring it to you, through the side door and around the back in a way that you never would have imagined, but it's even better than what you asked for. So it's releasing this concept of the way things have been done before and stepping into, okay, I'm going to allow the universe to bring me things that are unexpected, that are actually going to be better for me than I could have ever imagined. That's hugely important. And I'm going to point out, You've got these beautiful turtles, and you've got butterflies, or moths, actually not butterflies, moths. So we're dealing with transformation from an intuitional perspective, things in the dark, transforming things that are secretive, that are perhaps coming to the light, or coming into the moonlight, which sheds a different light than the sunshine does. And the turtles, I feel like it's connected to your Queen of Cups card. It's connected to the water. And turtles are, I don't know if there's a scientific fact with this, but this is just what I have received over years of channeling. Turtles are prehistoric. They're part of the sort of the dinosaurs. They've been here a long time. And that's part of the reason why they have adapted to be able to live on land and earth, and why they carry their home with them wherever they go. They're nomadic in many ways because they've had to learn to adapt, to go with the flow, to be able to pick up at a moment's notice and get somewhere else. And I feel like that is important for you to recognize, that I need to release this concept of I'm only safe and stable when I'm doing this, or when I'm here, or when I have these things. And this card is saying, no, release it, because you have the whole world at your fingertips, and it might come through differently. Be open to the difference. That's what you're shedding. Thank you so much, as always, for submitting your questions. Hope you like those cards. I love this deck. It's great imagery. All right, Keoni, who is next?
Christy Joe Styles. She's got the Page of Cups and Two of Wands.
Queen of Wands. I love it. Okay. So first card, Page of Cups. This is how you can avoid judgment of another this week. So Page of Cups is it's a card of creativity. It's a card of innocence. It's also a card of understanding that there's possibility for the new, and it's about being in flow, having a certain level of innocence to the approach that you take. So what I would say to you is, in terms of avoiding judgment, sometimes it's about getting creative on how you have interactions or communicate with another, being creative in exploring your feelings around those interactions with another, and getting creative in how you respond to another. So it might be, if you're used to always feeling like you have something to say, maybe the response is, wow, that's really interesting. I'm going to give that some thought. And that's all you say. And maybe that's what the conclusion that you come to after an hour of, giving it some thought and whatever. You're like, wow, that's really interesting. And I'd like to give it more thought. Maybe you're the person who doesn't say what's on their mind. Then it's okay. This is the time to say what's on my mind, and I can be creative in how I approach it, always taking into consideration who I am delivering this message to and how I want it to be received. I'm going to be creative in how I construct the response. So be playful. Don't take things to heart. Don't take things so seriously. I feel like that's really important. What was the second card? Queen of Wands. What are we needing to release from the past? Queen of Wands is powerful. So this is and interesting that Tri-Red got the Queen of Cups, right? So queens are powerful. So again, structure, order, and delegation around your energy levels. So for you, I feel like it's really understanding what it is you need to release from the past. It's releasing, I want to say, hot-headedness, or it's releasing spouting off at the mouth. It's releasing, pushing your energy, or allowing your energy to go in all sorts of places that affects that person that you're connecting with. The thing that comes to mind, sometimes I get really frustrated, sometimes because I'm a bigger personality, because I don't like hearing no. Sometimes if you catch me in an off moment, I get upset about something. I'm frustrated because I'm like, this is stupid. There's no reason why. And I'll give you an example. Sometimes I get frustrated. I'm a vegetarian. Sometimes I get really frustrated with the carnivore eating world at restaurants when you say, hold the chicken, which is costing, you're going to charge me $5 for that chicken, but you want to upcharge me. You're not going to take away that $5 from the salad, but you're going to upcharge me $3 to have avocado instead. Or to do that in, I love BLT sub A, so no bacon, sub the A. And they always want to upcharge me. Sometimes, in the grand scheme of things, it is what it is. It doesn't matter. It's all good. But every once in a while, you catch me in a moment and I can lose my shit about it. I get frustrated because I'm like, this is not fair. This is asinine. You know, why? So I feel like for you, it's understanding you might be getting in those moments too. And it's saying, okay, I'm going to release the attachment to the, or detach from the energy, the emotional energy to this situation or to this experience or to this exchange. And I'm simply going to speak facts. I'm going to speak the facts. I'm going to express how I feel, but I'm not going to be charged by it. I'm not going to have a specific, again, outcome in mind. So what are you needing to release from the past? It's understanding that you have all of this power, and she's the, you know, the Queen of Wands is the witchy card. So she's got all of the spidey senses. She's got the intuition kicking. She's the one that can conjure stuff in her hands just by thinking of it, right? She's like crazy, wicked good. And you want to own that. You want to bring that into the space, but also understand that a little goes a long way. That power is powerful, and the average bear doesn't have that layer or level of power. So a little bit of intensity can really blow someone away. And I feel like that's kind of the message for you. I feel like it's also a message for me. So thank you for pulling it. I'm grateful for you suggesting it and submitting it in the chat. All right, who is next?
I don't trust people who don't eat bacon, but we'll move on. Kim was next, but we're gonna Raghu is back live, so we're gonna go to Raghu and then we'll do a reading for Kim.
Awesome. Hey Raghu, how are you?
Hi Keoni. Hi Stacy. How are you?
Doing good. Doing really good. So nice to see your face. What cards did you pull today?
So I'm pulling from Divine Feminine deck, Megan Watterson.
Love it. It's one of my favorite decks.
For first question, I got White Buffalo Calf Woman, the prophetess of the sacred way. My heart is a compass. The path of love is true abundance.
Oh, I love that. Okay. So how you can avoid judgment with another. So I really liked the line about my heart is a compass. And I feel like that's the real message for you this week is where is your heart, pointing you? That's how you want to interact with others this week is based on where the heart is pointing you. And the heart might point you to walk away, to not engage. And that's okay. You don't have to engage. You can walk away and not worry about it. And sometimes the heart points you to actually speak your truth and say something without having attachment to what it is that you're saying. What is the thing that you do the most on the card? I want to say visually. What are you doing to most on the card?
Her eyes, the intensity in her eyes.
So intensity, the word that you're using, the intensity, can you tap in a little bit deeper into that and give me a feeling that you could connect to that intensity?
The word I'm getting is courage.
I love that. So intense courage. And I feel like for you, it's going to be intense courage to avoid judging individuals in your path. It's going to take intense courage to follow the heart compass this week, which is interesting. You might run into some situations where you feel like you really do need to speak up, or you feel like this is not appropriate or this is not fair, and I want to go to what for my heart compass telling me to go in a different direction, or vice versa. So it's going to take great courage to follow that heart compass this week. That's beautiful. I love that. Be open to what is presented, because you're always going to get, I want to say, you're going to get lesson right in the moment. You're going to understand the why in the moment. Once you commit to following that heart compass, you're going to receive the download of the why it's happening. That's really cool. I can't wait to hear that, how that sort of turns out for you. What's your second card?
Second card is Mary of Nazareth, the Mother of God. I am blessed. My courage gives birth to the divine.
Ooh. So look at the picture, and I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to tell me the first thing you hear.
Smile.
What do you hear?
Smile.
Smile. I love that. So what are you needing to release from the past? I want to say it's when we smile, there are many reasons why we smile. When you're smiling genuinely, what is your reason for smiling?
Your understanding.
So awareness,
Awareness.
clarity.
Right.
So what you're releasing, the need to have it all from a rational, logical perspective, and you're stepping into the place of, when I'm not understanding, when I don't have awareness, I'm going to smile, and the smile is going to bring awareness. Having that approach, smiling at the person and saying, can you repeat that? Or I'd really like to know more. Can you explain a little bit more in depth to me what it is that you're trying to say? And you do it with a smile. The smile is going to bring awareness. The smile is going to bring clarity to both of you.
Thank you. As you know, I'm mostly in my head, so this is a right message for me. I have to come to my heart and smile more.
Yes, and smile more, because when we do smile genuinely, in this world, oftentimes we feel sometimes like we have to put on the smiley face when we don't really feel happy. But when you genuinely smile and laugh, there is that awareness, there's that presence. You're in the present moment, right? And that's how you're going to be able to connect and find resolve and to find common ground with others. So that's beautiful. I love that. Thank you so much for coming on. I love that deck. It's one of my favorites.
Thank you, Stacey. Thank you, Keoni.
Have a great week.
Thank you, Raggedy.
All right, who's next?
All right, we've got Kim, who said their first card is 27, receiving from Sacred Rebels, and my second card is 11, Justice, from the Tarot of Enchanted Dreams. And yes, they're still in their pajamas, so that's
She's like, that's why I'm not coming on. That's why I'm not, because I'm in my jammies. So the 27, receiving from Sacred Rebels, I actually have that deck. So let me just call that up.
Ooh.
Of course, now you're going to see that I'm like, actually, no, I've got jeans on. So half the time I'm in pajamas myself, or I'm in shorts, and I never go out in public.
Show everybody, we promise.
Yeah, you're right. Oh my God, that's so funny. All right, let me just flip to the 27. I'm just curious. I want to see
the Sacred Rebels.
See the card image. Oh yeah, I love this card image. So, okay. So receiving, as in, how can we avoid judgment of another this week? It's receiving so it's similar to the message that I've been giving all along, is like listening to the heart or connecting your heart to their heart, but yours goes beyond that. It's listening to the person that's interacting with you and then asking for an intuitional download about it, being open to receiving what they're sharing with you that they're not necessarily saying, or being open to receiving messages from your guides that are letting you know what's going on in their world, what's going on behind the scenes, or like I like to say, under the hood, under the surface. The receiving piece also, when we're talking about judgment, it's about also opening yourself to being able to receive love. And if we are feeling love and we are feeling loved and appreciated, we tend to not go into a place of judgment because we're getting our needs met. We're not feeling we're not feeling that we need to be defensive. We're not feeling on edge because we're feeling included. We're feeling that we're being accepted. So I feel like for you, it's understanding what you're giving so that they have the opportunity to receive that. And it's also understanding what you're receiving. Because if you're not allowing yourself to receive, if you're stopping the compliment, or you're saying, no, that can't be so, and you're not receiving what people have to offer you in the way of love and appreciation and acceptance and all of those things, what's going to end up happening for you is you fall into a place of, okay, the world's out to get me and I'm going to judge, right? I'm not going to trust. that person in front of me. I'm going to automatically assume that this exchange that we're having, you know, where we're on opposite sides of the fence or whatever, is a direct attack or is out to cause me harm. And most of the time, that's not the case. You've got a lot of people who are unaware, you know, emotionally unaware. So this is helping you to receive the love so that you can then process what's going on and receiving the downloaded guidance, the downloaded intuition, so that you know how to proceed moving forward with this person that you're going to have this interaction with. So that's really cool. The second question, what are we needing to release from the past? And yours was, the justice card. So yes, let's talk about justice. Justice card is, it is what it is. Justice is blind, right? Lady Justice is blind. She's wearing a blindfold because it's really about, I can't get connected to the emotion of this. I need to very clearly go with just the facts. And the law is like this. Either you've broken the law or you haven't. And if you're deemed that you didn't break the law, you're free to go. If you're deemed and judged, you know, by a court of law that you did break the law, then the court goes through and says, how did you break the law? And based on those factors and how it's all broken up, you know, A plus B equals C. This is your punishment. This is what you're going to get. So in many ways, justice is about, it is what it is. And what I'm hearing for you, what you're needing to release from the past is this need to know, the need to have everything dictated or documented or to be able to prove yourself. You want to let all of that go and you want to step more into the space of, you know what? It is what it is. I can't change whatever this is. I've got to accept where I'm at right now so that I can move forward to get closer to where it is that I'm trying to go. So I feel like releasing the need to prove yourself, releasing the need to defend yourself, especially in relation to these interactions that we're talking about. This isn't about you having to prove yourself or prove your worth or defend your beliefs or defend the situation and your actions in a situation. This is about, it is what it is. I did what I did. And now, how would we like to move forward? You know, either we're going to move forward and you're going to choose to not speak to me again, or we're going to move forward and we're going to let bygones be bygones and agree to disagree and move forward, right? And I mean, there's gray areas in there as well. I'm just sort of rambling here, but releasing from the past this need to defend yourself, because it is part of the past. And whenever you are in a place where you feel you have to defend yourself, it's usually coming from a wounded place. It's coming from a triggered space. So you want to look into that and you want to say, okay, in the grand scheme of things, I really don't need to defend myself. You know, if this person wants to think I'm an a-hole, then I'm not going to change their mind. I'm just going to continue to be me, right? I'm going to move forward. I'm going to be me. So it's letting go of that need in some ways to be right, or in some ways to feel like you have to prove your case, you know. And I understand this. I mean, I'm great friends with my ex-husband, and I love him dearly. And every time there was something that I needed to bring up, I always approached it like it was a federal case that I was having to build, and I was going before the Supreme Court to ask for something I needed, because the way that he asked the questions, you know, it was always like I always had to have, you know, a response for it. And so after a while, you forget, you know, you get caught up in that cycle, people, and you forget that, you know what? I don't have to justify my shit to you. I just don't. It is what it is. And either you're going to like it or you're not. And we're going to, you know, the world keeps turning and we're going to move forward. So thank you for submitting your card pulls. That was great. Really enjoyed tapping into that. Hope that makes some sense for you.
Coming next week, new show from Stacy. It's Judge Stacy.
Oh my God, I can't even imagine. I'm not a reality TV person. I've seen, you know, little snippets and things of that. I can't even fathom.
Yeah, everyone's going to be innocent and given some positivity and sent on their way.
Yeah.
One more reading from a new watcher from Facebook. Ashley Renee Dickerson said they are new here. Can they please get a reading? And let's get her a reading, one from Tarot and one from Oracle. Okay,
that sounds great. So we'll pull the tarot for the first question. How can we avoid judgment? Oh, this is the one. How can we judge others this week? So we've got for you, the Hanged One. I love this card. So the Hanged One really represents complete surrender. It's like, I'm in limbo. I cannot move forward until some outside force does what it is that they need to do. So in the meantime, I'm just kind of sitting pretty. I can choose to be restless in this phase. I can choose to fight against it, or I can choose to say, oh my God, great. I've got some time to stop and smell the roses. Let me take a look at my bucket list. What are some of the things that I've really, I've been wanting to read a book for the last 4 months and I haven't had an opportunity to. What book would I like to start to read? This is the time to, how will you use your time wisely? You can use it to get all stirred up, or you can use it to say, all right, I'm being given a chance to recharge. So I feel like this week you really want to be paying attention to that. And when we're talking about in relation to how you can avoid judgment with one another, it's understanding that when you feel like you're in limbo and you're stuck, chances are there's a certain aspect or element of that person's energy that they're feeling that stuckness as well. And everybody responds to stuckness differently. I know for me being A type, you give me a yes, love yes. You give me a no, I'm not going to like it, but at least it's clear. You give me a maybe or a wait, and I'm like, what the hell? What am I supposed to do with that? Right? Like, I need to know. I need to move forward. I need to, I need to have a plan. This is saying, no, just relax into this. Breathe into this. Understand that each of us reacts very differently when we are feeling stuck. Some people, when they feel stuck, they feel trapped. It's a trapped animal and they're like, right? They're lashing out. Other people, they cower back in their cage because they don't feel safe when they're not moving forward or they don't have a direction. So it's understanding, how am I reacting to this space of limbo, and how is that other person maybe reacting to that space of limbo? So really paying attention to that is going to help you this week. And then pulling one of the tarot, this is, what are you needing to release from the past? Oh, this is going to be a good one. There we go. Chamber of the Violet Flame, karmic release, radical transformation. So it is releasing this concept of karma, this idea that for you, I feel like it's understanding the old idea of karma is you do a bad thing and then you have to come back into another lifetime in order to have that bad thing done to you so that you can, recognize the error of your ways and do something differently next time. And it's viewed as punishment. It's really not. And I'm going to say karma is very different. Karma is kind of moot in this new energy because we have all been around the block enough times to recognize that we don't need something outside of ourselves to let us know how to be morally good people, right? Karma was there because there was a lot of humanity that needed to learn the rules, that needed to learn the steps, that didn't have the experience of what it felt like, when you're yelling at another person, what that other person experiences or receives or feels, right? We've all been around the merry-go-round several freaking times. It's not our first rodeo. So this for you is understanding, I can release this idea of crime and punishment from a karmic perspective. And I can recognize that, what goes around comes around, because the energy that I put out into the world, I'm going to get back in some way. So it's just about being aware of how I'm presenting things. It doesn't mean you have to hold back. It doesn't mean you can't speak your mind or speak what's on your heart. Again, you just want to be aware of the delivery, because how would I want to receive this information? And then taking it a step further, and if it's possible, this isn't always possible, I want to say, with people that you don't know. It's much easier to do with people that you do know, but it's understanding, okay, I might learn differently than this other person. And so I might receive information differently, or want to receive information differently than this person wants to receive. So go to your intuition. What does your intuition tell you? Does your intuition say to you, you know what, you might not want to say this, but try this over here? Your intuition might say, yeah, say it all. This person can handle it. The intuition might say, you know what, walk away. So listening to that and understanding that you're releasing this concept of karma, and in lieu of that, you're stepping into your own personal morality and your own conscience. What do you know to be the right thing and the wrong thing, or the right thing for right now, or what you feel is the best. If you're coming from your heart space, you can never go wrong. Also, this card has a lot of energy about releasing negativity that's in your field. So I would also encourage you to consider maybe doing some Reiki this week. Going to a Reiki practitioner, getting some Reiki done, or listening to Reiki music, meditative music. You can do that on YouTube, because there's some debris in your field that needs to be cleared. And when that debris is cleared, there's going to be a lot more clarity for you around, I want to say, lightness of being, just being able to receive that information, that intuition around these interactions that you're having. And it comes through much more clearly, much more crisply, is what I'm hearing. So consider doing some Reiki or any kind of energy modality where you're clearing your energy. I feel like that's important. And the radical transformation, it's always my favorite. I'm the Phoenix, so I'm always talking about transformation. Radical transformation is what's happening for you when you release the concept of karma. And I feel like I'm talking to a lot of people here now too. When you release that concept of karma, what does that mean for you? How does that open up your world? What permission does that now suddenly give you to do different things? Radical transformation. We are all transforming radically right now. We're helping others. We're helping each other to transform radically. So open yourself to that violet flame. That violet flame is really going to make a difference. Thanks so much for tuning in. So glad to see you. I'm so happy to pull cards for you and provide a reading. Keoni, is that it for us? Are we done?
Well, we're going to get one more for Shauna, just one card. Sorry about that. Hi, beautiful Steffi. Nice to meet you, Keoni. I'd love a reading for my upcoming trip to LA, and I just want to squeeze that in since she's about to travel.
All right. I love LA. Woohoo. I'm pulling cards from the Kyle Gray Oracle deck. Heart of Source, all-encompassing love, unconditional acceptance, and serenity. So this trip that you're taking, I feel like it's going to bring a lot of serenity, but I'm also feeling like it's not necessarily going to go exactly according to plan. So what you want to be doing is you want to have that unconditional acceptance of what is, and understanding that it's all divinely inspired. It's divinely timed. Heart of Source is involved. Heart is connecting into that space. You're going to have a great time in LA. You're going to be safe. I want to say the things that you have planned, you want to be willing to sort of go with the flow around that, because I feel like the adventure that you have planned and the adventure that you're going to have are two different things. So be open to the adventure and be open to the flow. Source is divining it all. Source is leading the way. And the all-encompassing love, I mean, this is who you are at your nature. It's that, you know, I love everyone and I love everything. And I'm very much in this energy of sharing that love and being that love. You want to be able to do that, and you want to do that in the flow, because it's going to show up very differently than you're anticipating. And it's all good. And it's all getting you exactly what it is that you need on this particular trip. So I hope that makes some sense. Thanks so much for submitting your questions. So happy to be tuning into that. So I just want to wrap up really quickly by dropping another little hint. As you guys know, I've been doing a lot of creating, lots of fun creation process. And it's funny that this card came up about the transformation, because I'm creating a membership and we're going to be releasing it in the next few months. And it is all about transformation. And one of the things that I created, so the membership is called Ignite Your Wings, Wisdom for Transformation. And one of the things that I just created this weekend is I've got a Find Your Phoenix quiz. So I have created a personality system with phoenixes. You get to find out what your Phoenix avatar is. And this gives you some really comprehensive information on how you deal personally with change and transformation based on the type of personality that you are. And how helpful would that be when we're all going through it? We're all going through this, you know, we're in the soup and we're all boiling. Wouldn't it be nice to actually understand, oh, because I, you know, sort of this and this and this, and here's the energy of where I come from. Here are some helpful tools that really make this transformation much more understandable, much more comprehensive, much more tangible for me, to be able to go through it and to understand why it's happening, not feel like it's happening to me, understanding, oh, it's happening through me and for me. And so how can I make the most of that? So really excited about that, dropping that hint for you guys right now. And you want to be paying attention for information on Ignite Your Wings, Wisdom for Transformation. This is going to be a monthly membership service. There's community, there's help with transformation. There's all sorts of archangel stuff in there. I'm going to be doing channelings. I'm going to be doing card pulls. I mean, there's just everything you could imagine. It's being packed all into this membership, and I'm so to be bringing it to everyone. So keep peeling that. I hope everyone has the most amazing week. Thank you, Keoni. Appreciate you, and we'll see you guys next time. Ciao.